Max Richmond from Team Indizi. Max Richmond.
I will. Hey everybody, I'm Max. Thanks for joining us this morning. First thing I want to do is give an incredible shout out to Team Ndizi. Ndizi, for those who didn't hear earlier, is the Swahili word for banana. I think you'll soon find out why that's our team name. I'd like to call out specifically Brian, who's here this morning, Mariko, Anna, and Wolfgang, our counterpart from the World Bank, who've been phenomenal. So in addition to them, I'd like to mention some folks who are hopefully still planning to come. Sarab from the World Bank, Franz, Monica, Andrew, Peter, Kristen, Setra, Ben, Anush, and Evgeny. We could not have done this without all of you. Thank you so much. So wait, that sounds like an Academy Awards speech. Anyways, all right, here we go. So what is the problem? Why are we doing this? Number one, we want faster, open sources of food prices and consumption data for faster and easier estimates of inflation. No big deal, right? Okay, well, we found out from Wolfgang that food can often be 1/3 of inflation, perhaps in Kenya or other places. Inflation hurts the poor and it hurts lenders who don't know what they should be choosing for interest rates. So what did we do? Well, first we started with bananas. We started with a crowdsourced website that had banana prices around the world, and we looked specifically at what those were by continent and by region, and we taught 5 new people how to scrape who'd never done web scraping before. 3 of them went and created their own web scrapers as a result of that. That's super exciting to me. So what did we do beyond that? Well, after we learned how to web scrape with bananas, we decided to dig into some Africa data. We looked specifically at official and unofficial sources. We looked at an unofficial source from Kenya called M-Farm that has price data by day, which is super exciting, of specific commodities. So we're really excited to dig in more in that. We found data from supermarkets. We found data from expat websites. We found data crowdsourced, one called Numbeo, one called Whomunch, that people just submit prices. All these open sources for potential price data. I want to also mention that we have a map here where we mapped out by over the last 60 days what maize prices are like in 4 different subregions of Kenya. But number 3, so we just sort of dove into Africa, and we have more charts here. Please have a look on our GitHub page. I've been tweeting it out. Focused on Indonesia, and this is really the main one I want to talk about today, because I think this visual tells a major story, and our one major takeaway today, that we can do this. You know, it's worth exploring in greater detail how these open data sources can complement existing official data sources. What we have here, the bottom green line, is the world price for rice that we've gotten from Index Mundi. Above it, we have the FAO price for in-country, how much rice costs. And above that, we have prices we scraped from Twitter, prices that we scraped, a few data points. You see they're a little sparse, but data we've also scraped from a supermarket chain, Carrefour, in Indonesia. In addition to that, we also specifically looked at the Wayback Machine and Internet Archives and looked at the Carrefour websites from previous time periods. So we were able to fill it, and you see quite a gap of $1 between the FAO estimates and the 2 grains of rice that we looked at, 2 variety of rice brands. You know, certainly these are urban markets. There are lots of limitations, but is it worth exploring? Absolutely. So to that effect, what are our next steps? Number 1, the Global Pulse was here. We've been working with them. We know they're going to be doing more about Indonesia. We're super stoked to help them out with that. Number 2, we now have, as the result of some great scraping yesterday, 100,000 records of food price data from Kenya, stretching over 1,000 days, disaggregated by region, that we want to analyze against the same data we have from FAO and World Indicators. With that, I just want to say thank you and look forward to doing more of this in the future.
I just want to point that out again, by the way. Like, I know, you know, when you look at a graph, you might think, okay, I'm looking at a graph. They're pointing out a difference of $1 in food prices, rice prices, from what the FAO is estimating and what they were able to find.
And sorry, yeah, and also, like, you can see the gap. The orange section is where there is no FAO data. They just don't have that data yet, and potentially this is a leading indicator.
Very cool. I think that's amazing. So we do have time for 1 or 2 questions. Actually, while I was keeping Max up here. So opening up, if anyone has 1 or 2 questions we can take. It's okay if not. We can keep things moving.
We're still here in the front of the room. You can grab us whenever.
Okay, great. So you know Max and Wolfgang. So if you have questions for them after, go find them. Amazing work. Really fantastic.